Okay, we're live. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Baba Girivaranari Gopi Jana Baba Girivaranari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can see the screen. Yes. So we're reading today. Yesterday we finished 8th Canto, Chapter 4, and today we will start with Chapter 5. And it looks like the first few verses here don't have purports, not until verse 5. So we'll chant, First, we'll read the introduction for the chapter, and then we'll chant the Sanskrit and translation and everything for the first verse, and then they'll just read the other translations and then the purport and try to speak something. So chapter 5, chapter is called The Demigod's Appeal to the Lord for Protection. This chapter describes the 5th and the 6th Manus, and it also describes the prayers of the demigods and the curse of Durvasa Muni. The brother of Tamasa, the 4th Manu, who has previously been described, was the 5th Manu, Raivata. The sons of Raivata included Arjuna, Bali, Vindhya. During the reign of this Manu, Indra, the king of heaven, was known as Vibhu. Among the demigods were the Bhuttarayas, and among the 7 rishis were Hiranyaroma, Vedashira, and Urdhvabahu. The rishi known as Shubra by his wife Vaikuntha gave birth to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaikuntha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifested a Vaikuntha planet at the request of Brahmadevi. His power and activities are mentioned in the 3rd canto. Okay. The 6th Manu was Chakshusha, the son of Chakshumanu. Among the sons of the 6th Manu were Pura, Purusha, Sujuma. During the reign of this Manu, Mantrajumna was Indra, the king of the heavenly planets. Mantrajumna was the king of the heavenly planets. Among the demigods were the Apyas, and among the 7 rishis were Havishman and Viraka. The wife of Vairaja, whose name was Deva Sambhuti, gave birth to Ajita, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Ajita, taking the shape of a tortoise and holding the mountain known as Mandara on his back, churned the ocean and produced nectar for the demigods. There's so many exciting things in the Srimad-bhagavatam. All these things will be described in detail in other places. Maharaj Parikshit was very eager to hear about the churning of the ocean, and therefore Sukadeva Goswami began to explain to him how the demigods, having been cursed by Durvasa Muni, were defeated in battle by the Asuras. Asuras means demons. When the demigods were deprived of their heavenly kingdom, they went to the assembly house of Lord Brahma and informed Lord Brahma of what had happened. When Brahma, along with all the demigods, went to the shore of the ocean of milk and offered prayers to Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So we're going to text 1 now. Shri Shuka Uvacha Rajan Uditam Etat Te Hare Karmagna Nashanam Gajendra Mokshanang Punyang Raivatang Twantarang Shrinu Shri Shuka Uvacha Rajan Uditam Etate Hare Karmaga Nashanam Gajendra Mokshanang Punyam Raivatang Twantarang Shvinu Shri Shuka Uvacha Rajan Uditam Etate Hare Karmagna Nashanam Gajendra Mokshanang Punyam Raivatang Twantarang Shvinu Shri Shuka Uvacha Rajan Uditam Etate Hare Karmagna Nashanam Gajendra Mokshanang Punyam Raivatang Twantarang Shvinu Shri Shuka Uvacha Rajan Uditam Etate Hare Karmagna Nashanam Gajendra Mokshanang Punyam Raivatang Twantarang Shvinu Shri Shuka Uvacha Sri Shukadev Goswami said, Rajan, O king, Uditam, already described, Etat, this, Te, unto you, Hare, of the Lord, Karma, activity, Aganashanam, by hearing which one can be freed from all misfortune. Gajendra Mokshanam, deliverance of Gajendra, the king of the elephants. Punyam, very pious to hear and describe. Raivatam, about Raivatam Manu. 2, but Antaram, in this millennium, Shrinu, kindly hear from me. Translation. Shukadev Goswami continued, O king, I have described to you the pastime of Gajendra Mokshana, which is most pious to hear. By hearing of such activities of the Lord, one can be freed from all sinful reactions. Now please listen as I describe Raivata Manu. Maybe it'll be explained in the purport. Manus. Who are the Manus? Huh? Manus. Manus are... Manu actually means they're yeah. Well, the Manus are right in the begining of the universe. So there's Lord Brahma, and then he creates so many Manus. These are the first people in the whole universe, and these Manus were also Prajapatis. Prajapati means they had a service of having lots of children, and not just having children, but children, religious children who would become leaders within the different planets within the universe. So, and then some of these Manus, or some of the children of the Manus, actually became certain demigods. There's one that was mentioned in the introduction, who became the Lord Indra. They took that position as Lord Indra. So they're like demigods, and yeah. So in that way they are, but they're Prajapatis. Prajapatis are not just. It's not like someone on this planet who just decides that, hey, I want to have a big family. I guess I'm a Prajapati, right? No. Now these Prajapatis, they actually had lots of children. They had many, and their children also produced. This is how the population of the universe gets filled up. So the universe, when it's created, the most important living entities, or most important human beings means including demigods, are those that are producing lots of children, and who are being taught from the beginning to be very religious, because that's how the universe starts off. And the universe actually starts off. Most people in the universe in the very beginning are very religious people. We don't start off bad; we start off good, and then gradually things degrade over time. But in the beginning, these Prajapatis, of which the Manus were some, were very. There's a very important service that they did, because in conceiving first class children means you got to be if you went with religious children, you were children that are souls that come to you that are religious by nature, because we all, everyone has some tendency. So if you want children to come to you that are religious by nature, then you have to be in a proper state of mind at the time of conceiving those children, because whatever the consciousness is of the father and the mother of those children, it goes into it determines the consciousness of the child, of that soul, which takes the body from them, like that. Because some people are naturally inclined from previous lifetimes, they're naturally inclined in a very religious way. And some people are naturally inclined to be demoniac or atheistic, like that, also from their previous lives. So it's very. It was a very important service for these Prajapatis to following the rules and regulations themselves, and following whatever the procedures were, so that their children, their offspring, would be would basically be Krishna conscious, and would be by nature be religious. And Srila Prabhupada says the same thing for us, those who are our householders, married, and having children. He says don't have children like the way the cats and the dogs have children, which means no discrimination. With a male dog will find any female dog anywhere, and next week maybe find a different one, and it's just sense gratification, and of course what comes out is dogs. But so don't. He says we should not. We human beings should have, if we're married and having children, then it should be done very responsibly so that the children that come are most inclined to becoming Krishna conscious. And in some cases, they'll actually, in some extraordinary cases, they come and they're actually already pure devotees of Krishna. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur had Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, who was already a pure devotee of Krishna. He came that way to preach. And there are many examples like that. So those within ISKCON who are married and who are having children should follow the proper ways and try the best that the children that would come are already inclined towards Krishna consciousness. And then, of course, you got to train them besides that to become Krishna conscious. That's on our level, but on the Prajapati level, it's the same thing. They had to make sure within their ability that who came would be religiously inclined, and then, of course, they were taught also to be religious. If someone's not inclined to be religious, no matter what you teach them, they probably won't get it. So this is Prajapatis. Okay, and so let's go forward here. Text 2. I'll read the Sanskrit and the translation. And we do this up to number 5, and then we'll speak on the purport. Panchamo Raivito Nama Manus Tamasa Sodaraha Bali Vinjadayas Tasha Sutta Arjuna Purvaka. The brother of Tamasa Muni, I'm sorry, not Muni, Manu, the brother of Tamasa Manu was the 5th Manu, named Raivata. His sons were headed by Arjuna, Bali, and Vindhya. Arjuna. This is not the Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. It's another Arjuna. Vibhor Indra Saragana Rajan Bhutarayadaya Hiranya Rama Vedashir Hiranya Roma Vedashira Urdhva Bhagdayo Dvijaha. O King, in the millennium of Raivata Manu, the king of heaven was known as Vibhu among the demigods. Let me try to read that again. O king, in the millennium of Raivata Manu, the king of heaven was known as Vibhu. Among the demigods were the Bhutarashas, and among the 7 brahmanas who occupied the 7 planets were Hiranya, Roma, Vedashira, and Urdhva Bahu. Patni Vikunta Shubrayasha Vakunta Sura Saptamai Tayo Twa Kalaya Yagne Vaikunto Bhagavan Swayam. From the combination of Shubra, and his wife, Vikunta, there appeared the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaikunta, along with the demigods who were his personal plenary expansions. So here's somebody who actually had God appear as their child. Vaikunta Kapita Yena Loka Namaskritaha Ramaya Pratayama Nena Devya Tatpriya Kamyaya. Just to please the goddess of fortune, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaikunta, at her request, created another Vaikuntha planet, which is worshipped by everyone. Purport. Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks here that this Vaikuntha planet, like Srimad-bhagavatam, appears and is said to be born or created. But both the Srimad-bhagavatam and Vaikuntha eternally exist. Jai Shri Gauranitai, Shri Radha Vrija Vihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, and Shri Ganesh Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks here that this Vaikuntha planet, like Srimad-bhagavatam, appears and is said to be born or created. But both the Srimad-bhagavatam and the Vaikuntha eternally exist beyond the material universes, which are enveloped by 8 kinds of coverings. They're covered by 8 different coverings. As described in the second canto, Lord Brahma saw Vaikuntha before the creation of the universe. Vira Raghava Acharya mentions that this Vaikuntha is within the universe. It is situated above the mountain known as Loka Loka. This planet is worshipped by everyone. Okay, it doesn't give the name of it. The only Vaikuntha planet, well, okay, Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The only Vaikuntha planet, well, actually, two places. One is called Sweta-dweep, where Kshirodakshai Vishnu resides, and another one is called Dhruvaloka, which is we know as the pole star, the North Star. We can actually see it. And the bright star in the north is actually Dhruvaloka, which is also a spiritual planet. Yes. It's not a star. Actually, usually what's called stars are not stars per se. They're planets. And the only distinction I know is that usually you think about a star. Science says stars are like suns, right? And so that's the idea. The stars out there, it's like a sun. We have our sun. We have planets going around it. So they assume that these other stars may have planets going around them. But they refer to, all the stars are mentioned sometimes, but basically what we see out there that we call stars are actually planets. And planet means that there are people living there. There's life. There is life on every planet, every star, or whatever you call it out there. Everything you see, all those dots of light we see out in the sky, there is life on every one of them. So scientists will never figure it out. They speculate about it sometimes, but they'll never know for sure because they won't be able to go there. Not from this planet anyway. But still, they are these are planets, and some of them are higher, and some of them may be lower than us as far as there are in the universe. Srimad-bhagavatam, the Vedas describe there are 14 levels of planetary systems. 14 levels, not 14 planets, but 14 levels of systems. From the lowest hellish planets, so there is a hell. Hell is not necessary, at least growing up Christian background, hell was understood or described as something in the center of the earth, right? That was pretty much that was the idea. Go down, so you're down the middle of the earth, and it's very hot and you're burning all the time. And those kind of things was what we were taught. But that's not hell. There are hellish planets, many of them, that are described in the Srimad-bhagavatam 5th canto. And then there are middle planets. So we're in the middle planetary system. We're in number 7 level here. Earth is, and I'm not sure what other planets are on this level, but the level where the Earth is on is number 7, and then there are higher and higher levels up to number 14, which is the highest planet, where Lord Brahma would be on the 14th level. He's right at the top. He's the creator of the secondary creator. Lord Brahma is secondary creator because, of course, all the planets, Krishna gave him the ability to manifest all these things. So that's his service, but the Krishna had to create Lord Brahma first, and he gave him that service. So these higher, middle, and lower planets they're a reality, and they're described. Also, the higher planet. In the 5th canto, there's several chapters about these kind of things: the hellish planets, the higher planets, the structure of the universe. The Srimad-bhagavatam is amazing because we without any endeavor other than the endeavor of reading the Srimad-bhagavatam, but without any endeavor, hardly we can understand so much about the universe and the other planets and what's inside of those planets, who's living in those planets, what life is like on those planets. The material scientists are trying to figure these things out. Well, maybe there's some microbial something developed from a combination of certain elements on some planet. I mean, all they can do is speculate about what there may be, because material science starts off with the theory that the material science that doesn't really accept God, or at least is not part of this scientific explanation. Oh, just saying everything's created by God, that's easy. Let us figure out how things have actually come about. So the material scientists are taking the position that things didn't come from God, that somehow or other things by accident, by trial, by whatever happened, because that doesn't really make any sense. But the different combinations of material elements and then certain things kind of came about, and that became small, simple life forms, and then those kind of just gradually evolved on their own over billions of years. This is the kind of things that's described. But the reality is that all the species of life, 8,400,000 species of life exactly in the universe, they have all they've all existed since the beginning of the universe. Means the lowest species and the highest species, everything between, have all existed since the beginning of the universe. As soon as the universe is created, all these species of life are manifested, and we're talking about in the universe. So it's not that there's so many things on this planet, so many species of life that no one's ever seen. You go in the ocean, you find things that you didn't see before. You go places you never went before, you see new species of life. But there's also lots and lots and lots of species of life on other planets. Srila Prabhupada says there are, on certain planets, there are birds, big birds, that are um, birds so big they can pick up an elephant, like that. They're huge, and these birds can actually fly from one planet to another. So we think, how can a bird fly from one planet to another? There's no air up there. So things are done. So this was where we accept the Vedas as they are, and nobody can really prove that it's not true. Uh, you can just theorize that how can it be true, but nobody can prove that it's not true. And if you actually follow the Vedic system, if you follow the principle of accept Guru, and if you're studying these books, the Krishna conscious books, and you're chanting Hare Krishna, then we can develop that kind of faith. And it's not blind faith. It's not just faith. It's not what someone might say. Uh, you're becoming brainwashed. You're letting somebody just brainwash you. Srila says yes, we are washing our brain of all kinds of rubbish. He says we're washing our brains of all kinds of rubbish and replacing it with Krishna. In the early days of ISKCON, in 66, 67, around there, the man, they say, they put man on the moon first time. Right. Yeah, yes. So that's what was advertised. I was a kid. I don't know, I was probably 14 or 15 or something like that in those days. Anyway, I remember it, and it was I was listening to it on the radio. I even used my father's big tape recorder. Ordinary tape recorders were this size in those days. I would use that, and I recorded the whole thing, whatever was being described. I think, wow, this is historical. This is wonderful. I was thinking. But anyway, during that time, the early devotees who were with Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada was in New York, they were actually watching this. They were excited. I'm not sure Prabhupada wasn't excited, but they were excited, watching on TV, and wow, man is actually going to the moon, landing on the moon, walking on the moon, like that, he says. But, and then Srila Prabhupada watched it patiently. They said, actually, they didn't actually go to the moon. You can't, it's not possible. And why is it not possible? Different reasons. They did not go to the moon because, for one thing, according to Vedas, the moon is a whole lot farther away than what they say it is. How far away do they say the moon is? 240,000 miles, 250,000 miles, something like that. Anyway, it's supposed to take 3 days traveling at the speed the rockets travel to get there. But the Vedas say the moon is, first of all, the moon, according to the Vedas, is actually farther away than the sun from us, and it's bigger than the sun, and it's six. I have to check the mileage now. Anyway, it's 800,000 or 1,600,000 miles. I forget now. Beyond where the sun is, and the sun is more or less what they say it is, 93 million miles. So that's where the moon is. It's far away. So they certainly didn't go that far in 3 days of traveling time. He said maybe they landed on Rahu, if they landed anywhere. Rahu is a dark planet, and you can't see it. I mean, it's dark means it doesn't reflect light. So it's a dark planet, and maybe they landed there. He said, but they actually landed anywhere. But they definitely did not go to the moon. So one thing is the practical, um, thing of going that distance, and going that distance in the time that they say they went somewhere. Other thing is that the moon is a heavenly planet, and the moon that what they saw or said they saw on there, which is a lot of craters and a lot of dust and gray like that. That they can't see what's actually there. It's more subtle material energy there, because there's whole civilizations there. It's a heavenly planet. It's a you know, and it's full of life. It's full of life. Um, in fact, the moon shine, according to the Srimad-bhagavatam, that moon shine is gives fruits and vegetables flavor. It does. If you put something out if it's outside and it's in the moonshine, it'll give flavor, and it might grow out, inside, but if it's not in the moonshine, the flavor will not develop properly. So that being the case, how can the moon not have life itself? How can it not be fruits, vegetables, those kind of edible things growing there? And what to speak of the people? But the 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 bodies of the people are more subtle. There are 8 million. There are 8 kinds of material elements. Bhagavad Gita says this too: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego or false ego. So this planet, most everything is earth and water, mostly water. If this body gets cremated, it turns into about this much. So that's left. Everything else was water in some form, some liquid. So so um, so this planet is mostly earth and water, and like that. But the other planets, higher planets, the living entities, the bodies are something else, maybe more mind, intelligence. Lord Brahma's body is made almost entirely of intelligence. It's a material element, but it has form. It can have form. We may not understand how it has form, but it has form. On the moon, the living entities have some kind of more subtle body, because the soul can go anywhere. Now you say, oh, no one could live on the moon because without special equipment like that, because if they're living on the moon gets, I don't know the temperatures, but when the sun is on where you are, then it's extremely hot, like hundreds of degrees, and when the sun shines on the other side, then the moon is very cold. At least this is what science says. So you think nobody can live in conditions like that without spacesuits and those kind of things. But but if you have a more subtle body, then all that doesn't apply. So anyway, this is a lot. It takes. I was saying the other day that advancement in Krishna consciousness means is determined by how much faith we have in Krishna's words, which is the Vedic conclusions. Because at the time Srila Prabhupada told his disciples there that no, they really didn't go to the moon. So I guess some accepted it, but there was at least one who absolutely could not accept it. We're watching them; they're going on the moon. Can't you see? And Srila Prabhupada said, no, It's not possible, based on the Vedas. So that particular devotee just, I think he just collapsed. He just couldn't. Didn't have that faith. If having faith doesn't mean necessarily that we can fully understand it. So many things I cannot explain. But if the Vedas say it, we accept this is true, and that's the faith. If the Vedas say that Krishna says in the Vedas, you surrender to me, and you will come back to the Godhead. So that takes some faith. But so we may think, and then it's a good question. If you're following a religious path and you're just being told, if you had no understanding, no realization of anything, and you're just on the basis of that God says this is how it is, and you must follow it, and you have no personal direct experience of God's instructions being true, then it may be very difficult to just accept that. A lot of people lose their faith in religious practices because they can't explain things. You know, some people say, I was looking at something the other day, somebody making the argument, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in God. Because if there was a God, there would be no suffering in this world. How can God allow people to suffer, right? How can God, when God is there and He loves us, then everything would be wonderful and beautiful and perfect in this world. Then that would be proof that God exists. So they say if they don't see this, then they say no. Then there is no God. I don't believe in God. So, but that's not a good argument because, and I also had, I never doubted there was God, but I knew the arguments, and I was wondering, how do you explain to somebody, answer that question, right? How do you answer that question? Why is there so much inequality in the world if God loves us all the same? Good question. Yes. So I was thinking like this. I even asked these questions to my Sunday school teacher and those people back then who didn't have an answer. Yeah. Yeah. It's like Sunday school. Yeah. But there was no answer. Oh, I never had a shot of it. I got to live on Tuesdays. Before these people leave, you should get over some fruit or something. There's a couple that comes in. Yeah, come every Tuesday. And I make sure they have a shot. So I asked this kind of question, but they couldn't really give an answer because that particular religion doesn't. There's no real answer. Why if God loves us all the same? Why is there so much inequality? We're all born into some condition. So some people are born in a billionaire family, and you have all material facilities from the beginning of your life and like that. And someone else is born in very, very bad condition and suffering and like that from the beginning. But we say God loves everyone the same. How is it possible? And of course, the actual answer is it's karma. It's karma. Okay, so it's not that God is. It's not that God is indiscriminate. He actually is. He actually giving us. He's reciprocating to our actions. So if our action previously was very sinful, then we get a certain kind of body, a certain kind of problems. And if our life was very, very nice, maybe we gave a lot of charity to our proper people and things like that, then we may take a very good, materially good birth, like that. So so God may seem to act differently with different people, but it's based on our previous activities, our activities. Just like you say, Someone's going to get you some prasad. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Um, um, so, um, so someone may be. I'm sorry. I don't. Yeah. Different people are born with different abilities based on our previous lives' activities, our desires, and our how much pious or impious activities we've done. So understanding this principle law of karma, we can understand if I'm suffering because of something I previously did. It's not that God uh, hates me or doesn't exist, or put the universe in motion and went to sleep somewhere. You know, we don't it's very easy to answer that based on karma and reincarnation. So these are very and this is very this is actually knowledge. Basic knowledge means starts off with understanding I am not this material body. I am spirit soul, and then along with that, if I'm spirit soul, along with being spirit soul, uh, I have my karma from my previous life. I have and same thing in practicing Krishna consciousness. Someone may take up Krishna consciousness, and when we take it up, it's like this, like we're just we feel that I'm just taking over, continuing what I left off. It's like this is nothing new. I didn't know about it exactly, but when you hear about it, it's like, yeah, this is natural. Krishna consciousness is just like a natural thing that we do. And someone else may take it up and struggle and come and go, like that. So maybe they didn't advance as far on the spiritual path. But there's a lot that can be understood just by understanding the principle of karma and reincarnation and so on. But in Krishna consciousness, our advancement, how advanced we are, is based very largely on how much faith we have in the Krishna consciousness. In the Vedas, basically, how much faith we have. That determines how fast. So therefore, if you look at the description of um, I'm getting distracted easily today. If you the first class, second class, third class devotees, which comes up in nectar instruction and nectar devotion, and I'm sure it's all throughout the Srimad-bhagavatam it comes up. So what is the distinction? Third class devotee, we start off third class level. Third class devotee means that we are we're actually just trying to get off of the material platform. I mean, someone might come to the temple, may not be following the regular principles, may not be really chanting Hare Krishna at all, and just trying to do something to get above the material platform. Okay, third class devotee has very little faith or very weak faith in anything about Krishna consciousness because, well, that's the level that such a person is on. So, and if someone comes along with a strong argument against what they're doing, they can't really defeat it. Um, uh, they may go back to somebody they trust, actually giving good knowledge and read and get reminded about what the philosophy is, like coming to this daily Srimad-bhagavatam class, for example. But they don't on their own. They would have a hard time. But that someone who's third class devotee by chanting Hare Krishna, by associating with devotees, especially those who are more senior than them, by following the process. Uh, Such devotees will gradually rise to a higher level. So then second class devotee means that we have very good faith in the process. If I do this, we're convinced of the process. We may not be convinced, may not be very advanced in spiritual life, but we are convinced. We may not have a whole lot of knowledge, but we're very convinced that if I follow this knowledge, if I follow this path, I will become Krishna conscious. We may be convinced that that following this process is the very best thing I could do for my life. So that, at which time you're probably chanting prescribed rounds and following the principles and becoming fixed in those activities, steady in those activities. So that's second class devotee. Second class devotee has a lot of faith, still may not be able to defeat every arguments that we might throw at them, but they have complete faith in the process, and they don't get deviated from that process. So that's second class. First class devotee has complete faith, because first class devotee, they're already realizing Krishna. So there's no question of not having faith in Krishna when you already realize Krishna. So and first class devotee can easily defeat anyone in argument on Krishna conscious subject matters. This is the first class devotee, and that first class devotee, like Srila Prabhupada, for example, first class devotee. So, but we want to, at least, if we're on third class level, we definitely want to get to second class level and be fixed there, because third class level is very shaky, and then we can keep advancing on the second class level, and the perfection of the second class level is to become a first class devotee, Krishna conscious devotee. At which time we all have complete faith, and that we're in very strong position then. And we're actually, first class devotee means we've realized Krishna. So we should at least be on second class level, otherwise we'll be up and down and coming and going all the time. So that's where we're at. Third class level is very shaky. So it's already 8:51. Are there any questions or comments?
So the advancement from one level to another, it takes time or effort for both. But it depends only on just to say, not that very quickly. Or you really have to spend a lot of time practicing.
We still have to. I mean, the faith comes gradually, but we can advance very quickly. There's no. I mean, you don't. There's no one says that okay, for the next it's gonna take you 8 years, 10 months, and 2 days to go from this level to this level. It's not nothing. It's not like that. It's all based on our attitude, our endeavor, and everything. Of course, is always Krishna's mercy. So if we have the right attitude, we're begging Krishna for His mercy all the time. When Krishna comes, we see Krishna in the morning, we can be praying, should be praying, that please, Krishna, help me to advance, help me to become fixed, and help me to advance more and more and more in Krishna consciousness. So we're asking for that help. And of course, the process is there. We chant our rounds, we follow the regular principles, we keep in the association of devotees, we do as much service as we can possibly do, like that, and hear Srimad-bhagavatam every day. Nashta Preshta Bhadreshu Nitya Bhagavata Seva. by regular attendance in the classes on the Srimad-bhagavatam, then we become, all those impurities in our mind, all those our lack of faith will become corrected, and we'll develop 100% pure faith in Krishna. And the thing in the Krishna consciousness is, you don't have to wait. I started to say before, when we grew up in a Christian background, we would, we were taught, okay, you got to be a good person. So of course I'm thinking I'm a very good person. You got to be a good person. You got to believe. You got to believe in the process. Believe in the Bible. Believe in this way. And if you have that belief, then of course, when you die, you go to heaven. But the question was always, it's just that's a lot of faith. Just to say I believe, and then actually keep that belief regardless of anything else until the end of life, and hope that what you've been believing is actually going to happen. And a lot of people don't. They lose that faith, especially when they get bothered, get what's the word? Brainwashed. Get brainwashed by the materialistic scientists and those people who are trying to tell you. And this happens because people grow up in a religion. Kids grow up. They go to the youth group, the youth teacher, Sunday school teacher, or those kind of things, or minister. And then they go off to college. And after a few months or a year in college, they come back, and a lot of times they completely gave up their faith, because they already had some questions that nobody could answer. Like I had questions. So they had those questions that nobody could answer, because the particular teachings are not really, these things are not answered, those religions. And then on top of that, you're studying whatever you're studying. Maybe you get an atheistic teacher, and he's teaching the subject, the scientific study topic very nicely, but you better not mention God, and he's going to try to convince you that everything's happening without God. So then you're getting that, and you got to surrender to it. Even if you don't want to, you got to surrender to it. You got to answer the questions the way that the teacher is telling you to answer them. Otherwise, you don't pass, right? So then next thing you know, you're giving up, you're losing your faith, which was based largely on, well, it said like this, the Bible said this, or the other scriptures said this, and I've just been accepting that, and now they're giving what sounds like logical, practical reasons why those scriptures are not, why they should not be followed. So people lose their faith, and in Krishna consciousness, things can happen, so they lose their faith. Also, what we have is which the other paths don't have. We have philosophy. We have why things are the way they are. Why do we do things the way we do them, like that? And the philosophy is very, very important. So Srila Prabhupada would say, quoting his spiritual master, he says, religion without philosophy is sentiment, and sometimes even becomes fanaticism, right? And philosophy without religion is just mental speculation. So both have to be there. So if you're following the religious principles, but you don't understand why you're following what you're following, you're following some ritual or something, you're accepting something, okay, it says like this, but you don't understand why. Just like someone might say, this comes up in religions, big question, like I say, like abortions, right? So your path may say, abortion is bad, but doesn't, there's no real good explanation why it's bad. And so people say, why should I? There's so many good things about abortion. You can have so much enjoyment with like that, and get pregnant, and you just kill it before it's born or something. There's arguments like that, and the religion can say no, you're just not supposed to. It's just bad. So they start saying, well, why? Explain it. But we understand because first of all, the arguments usually you abort is up until a certain age because of development, because they say that there's no life there until whatever month they say it is. Okay, they say there's no life. So we know that the very moment that the soul goes into the body, and this is also described in the third canto, Srimad-bhagavatam. As soon as the semen and the egg, the semen, they come together. As soon as the connection's made, in a couple of days, it's described that the form starts off about the size of a pea, very small, and then gradually over months it develops, and then arms, legs, but that as soon as the soul is life, and so from that very first moment that this child, the life is there. So if after someone says after, you wait so many weeks, and then after before, and if you kill or get rid of it, you abort before that time, then there's no problem because there's no life there anyway. And then of course the argument is woman's body. So a woman decides that it's her body. She decides what she's going to do. But those are bad arguments because the soul is there, and the body is not ours anyway. These bodies are on loan to us by Krishna to use in His service, so we can become Krishna conscious and get out of this material world. So we can't actually say this is my body. In a sense we can, but we can't. It's not mine. I'm renting this body, in a sense. So you're renting an apartment. So we, the soul, are living in this apartment, or renting a car, except the body's like that. So the soul can drive around in the material world and do different things. But that's what we have. The soul is not ours. The body is not ours. We are the soul, but the body is not ours. It's given to us so we can use it to become Krishna conscious. That's really the point. And if we have a human form, we can use it to become Krishna conscious and go back to the spiritual world. The animals have bodies too, and there's also life in those bodies. The same principle, but they cannot use their body to become Krishna conscious because they're animals. Because there's a certain level of sinful life there. So to take birth as an animal is sinful. Sinful to take birth as an animal because of sinful activities. One soul takes an animal birth or a plant birth. But the life is there. The soul is there. Anyway, any other questions? Well, okay, maybe one more quick one. How
about humans which are artificially created in the labs?
Huh?
How about humans which are created artificially in the labs?
Yeah.
They should have soul, right?
Yes.
Those
Yes.
still enters the embryo.
That's right. Yeah. All the scientists they may even say, "See, we created life," but all they're doing is taking the sperm and the egg and mixing together in some favorable condition, and the soul is looking for a favorable condition, and the soul finds the process is in the semen. There's so many sperm cells, right? Many. So each one of the sperm cells, there's a soul in there. That's why they're swim around and that's the life. So the souls take shelter temporarily in the form of the sperm cells, the semen, and And in however the sperm and the egg come together, whether it's man or woman or in a test tube like that, it's that soul from one of those sperm cells, only one gets it generally, will make the connection, and then that body develops. So that soul that development can happen in experiment, and they do it in a test tube or in a whatever they use in a laboratory. They can do it there, but they're not creating life. They're just taking the ingredients and putting it together in a favorable condition, favorable atmosphere, so something develops. So if there's growth, if there's change, then there's life. That's the general rule. So as soon as it starts to grow, you know for sure the life is there. And if you destroy that life, then it's sinful.
So what you just mentioned that life is already contained, the soul is already contained in the stomach.
Yeah, the sperm cell, yes.
But not in the egg.
No, yeah. But when they come together, the egg is where it develops into the body, and the soul and the sperm enters into the combination. So that way the soul goes into the body, and then his body develops. So like that, the life is there, and the material ingredients for the development of the body are in the form of the egg, which the whole thing expands. If you look in the Srimad-bhagavatam, this third canto, there's a chapter called, I don't remember the chapter number right off, it's called the Movements of the Living Entities. Movements of the Living Entities. You see it on the database. Third canto. Yeah, Lord Kapila teachings. Movements of the Living Entities. And anyway, the whole process is there from the beginning and go into the womb, and how a particularly fortunate soul, or particular when the baby in the womb around the 7th month, actually realizes where their position there. I mean, they're alive before that, but they realize, here I am, and for a very short time while they're in the womb, they're realizing that I'm here because of my, in this horrible condition, which is because it's not nice inside. I'm here in this horrible condition because of my past activities, and please God, Krishna, or whatever, he's understanding, like that soul he's got these meditations. It's described there. Please just let me out of this condition. This time for sure, I will surrender to you. Yeah, he actually can think like that. I almost say he's speaking because I don't, but he's aware of his position. But unfortunately, when at the time of birth, it's hard. For the mother, it's hard. Child coming out, and for the child, it's being squeezed through the opening like that. It's very difficult, and they basically forget everything, and then they forget what they were thinking about. Just let me out, and I will surrender to you. But they're completely bewildered by the time they come out. And then the child, of course, is there. Then, oh, such a cute kid. It's like, oh yeah, I'm the center of the universe. The consciousness develops. So therefore, those who have children, Christian devotees who have children, should be thinking. You show the affection, but you think from the beginning, how can I give this child Krishna consciousness? How can I give them every opportunity to not take another birth in the material world? And actually, that's the requirement. One should not become a father or a mother or a teacher, spiritual master, a leader, anyone. If the position when you have someone under you who, unless you can unless you can save those dependents from having to take another birth in the material world. That's actually That's the requirement. So at least we have to know what the goal of life is, what the purpose of life is, um, and 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 if we're in any position, whether as a parent or the leader, as a governor, as a president of the United States, or a king somewhere, uh, it's actually their responsibility. First responsibility is to see that anyone who's dependent on them um, for guidance, they're supposed to be making sure they have all opportunity to become no sinful activity. They should not be allowed or to engage in sinful activities, and they should be encouraged and taught in every way possible to how to become God conscious, so they will not have to take another birth in the material world. Of course, that's not what actually happens out there, but devotees should know better. That's why we have philosophy that tells us why we do what we do. I don't believe. I got to end here. Sorry. We'll continue tomorrow with the next verse. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.